Deadly protests in Angola over high fuel prices. Over 2,000 citizens have stood to the streets demonstrating for the president to change their stance or for the government to change their stance on fuel price hike. This protest has caused a lot to the country over decades now. This is the deadly protest that the country has ever experienced. Youth took to the streets, there were rampant looting, and other people were doing certain things, destroying government properties, and tires were burned on the streets of Angola. They are crashed with the police. At least 4 were killed and 500 were arrested. We are going to dive into the whole details and the main reason why these people are demonstrating in Angola. Angola people are saying enough is enough. Now, before we dive into the details, my name is Hema Adonis. Make sure you subscribe to this channel for more exclusive content on what is happening around the globe. Let's dive right in. Now, over 2,000 individuals are protesting on the streets of Angola, in the capital, which is Luanda, and many other streets in Angola. Now, before we check what is the main reason why these people are demonstrating, shouting that enough is enough, they are living impoverished. There is high transport rates. There is what? High fuel prices. Now the government has raised that standard again. The people are demonstrating, asking the government to change their stance on what they are trying to do. Now, before we dive into that, let's look at a little information about Angola and what Angola is made up of. Angola is the second largest oil producer in sub-Saharan Africa. Each day, nearly 1.1 million barrels of crude oil flows out of this nation. But despite its riches, over 40% of Angolans live in poverty. For them, oil has become a curse, not a blessing. Angolans' oil revenues are vast, but they are often lost in corruption and elite control. The wealth rarely reaches the everyday citizen. In mid-July 2025, the government of Angola, led by President João Lourenço, announced a sharp cut to fuel subsidizing. Overnight, petrol prices jumped by over 50%. And what the government is doing that? The government claimed this move was necessary to stabilize the economy and attract foreign investment. But for the ordinary Angolans, this felt like a betrayal. So the protest is not just about infrastructure, it's not just about accountability. Oil revenue should be used to build the country, build schools, roads, and refineries, not Swift's bank accounts. So the people are protesting that all this in the country should stop. But before all the situation escalated, let's go to 2017 when President João Lourenço has took the seat. He promised to reform the system. Some oil contracts has been reviewed, some ministers dismissed, but critics says the country's system remains untouched. Nothing has changed since President João Lourenço has took the seat. So this year, anger boiled over and over when the government raised the fuel prices, citing the need to end subsidies. People hit the streets from Rwanda to Benguela, from Hambo to Kabida. Cars were burnt, tires on fires on the street, crashes with police, and there was a report that many shops were looted. But before all these protests, there is something that many did not take into consideration, or many did not know. For decades, Angola have borrowed heavily, mainly from China, using oil as collateral. The result, massive debt and dependency on foreign powers. Meanwhile, billions vanish into offshore accounts without any accountability. But Angola in question produces over 1.1 million barrels per day, but it exports crude oil and imports refined fuel. That is the core contradiction of its economy. They have no vast refinery that they can be able to produce their own. What they do is to ships transporting oils abroad, while local fuel stations run dry. After that, they go and import the same thing that they have shifted abroad. So that is collapsing the country's system. Now, For we to check the facts, Angola has only one functioning oil refinery, the outdated Luanda refinery built in 1955. It refines less than 20% of the country's world needs. And the rest, what happens to it? Imported at high cost. This leaves Angola vulnerable to global fuel prices and the people suffering when prices rise. Since independence in 1975, the MPLA has ruled Angola. With the end of a brutal civil war in 2002, Angola emerged as a petroleum powerhouse. Yet, from the very beginning, oil became both its strength and its weakness. Now, this is the main reason why Angola is suffering. Overdependence on oil. Oil makes up 90% of export revenues. While global oil prices dropped, the entire economy crashes. Non-oil sectors like agriculture and manufacturing are underdeveloped. And also, Angola exports crude oil but imports refined fuel at high prices. Only one small refinery in Luanda is operational and outdated. Delay or failed refinery projects increase fuel shortages and costs. Now, this country has a vast oil, but they can't refine it because they lack the equipment to refine this oil. It's only one of the refining which they have in Rwanda, the capital. So critically, this country is rich but living in poverty. For the other citizens, this is going to cost them a lot. So the people are demonstrating, the average citizens of Angola are demonstrating for the government to change their stance on the fuel prices. Because there's high cost in transportation, high cost in living. The ordinary citizens are not be able to afford daily meal. So the people are taken to the street demonstrating, and in that demonstrating, the people are looting mini stores. Government ATM are being crashed. Stores are being crashed. There was a lot of fires on the streets. Who are demonstrating, crashing with the police, saying enough is enough. Now, during this demonstration in Angola, a lot has took place. According to official statements from Angola's government and the presidency, at least 22 people were killed in the unrest that began on July 28, 2025. During the protests triggered by a government decision to remove diesel subsidies and raise fuel prices, but about 1/3. This protest began in Rwanda and spread to other provinces. More than 1,200 people were arrested, with one official figure stating 1,214 arrests were made. At least 197 people were injured during the violence. Earlier reports during the initial days of the protest had cited 4 deaths and around 500 arrests, but those were updated and significantly revised as the situation developed. This event actually unfolded over a 2-day period to July 28 to 29, 2025, and marked some of the most widespread unrest Angola has seen in the recent years. So to Angola, this is what is happening to them, and a lot of things are happening in Angola as we speak now. Guys, what do you think about the recent widespread of scheduled demonstration in Angola over fuel hike prices, and also in corruptions where the governments are being accused of a lot of corruption in Angola? Yet, this country is the second largest producer of oil in the sub-Saharan Africa, but yet they are living in poverty. What is your take on the recent developments in Angola? Whatever it is, drop your opinion in the comment section. Thank you for watching this channel.